As we start to get more interested in our own internal dynamics, and we're more interested in being aware of what's happening within us and what's happening within those we love and the people in our lives, we start to find that there can be a real deficit of emotional awareness, of knowing how to track within and really feel what we're feeling. And then we also start to find that there's a deficit of emotional fluency, the ability to describe with some intimacy and intricacy and nuance what is happening within our emotional experience. And really the issue is twofold. One is we're just not trained in how to slow down and check in and be contemplative to what is happening within us. And the other is that we do not have a real rich emotional fluency with which to describe our experience to others. And when we're lacking in that ability to describe what's happening within us, we really find that it's more difficult to be intimately connected, to be intimately communicative with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. So what can we do? What can we do to learn how to practice being more self-aware, how to learn how to take the time to really check in with ourselves and check in with the people around us, and to build this emotional fluency so that we can more accurately describe our experience? Well, let's explore. Recently, I started doing a little experiment. I started really listening when I would ask people, "How are you doing?" Or when they would ask me, "How am I doing?" I started listening to my own reactions, and I started listening to what people would say. And what I found was that primarily the vocabulary that people use to describe their emotional experience, which is what we're asking, "How are you doing?" What I would find is the words would be somewhat limited. "I'm fine." "I'm good." "I'm all right." Not so good. The language was very limited. And I started to find that following that, oftentimes we go to talking about what's happening in our lives, talking about what's happening externally in our lives, rather than talking about what's going on internally. We're equating how we are doing with what's happening outwardly. So an example might be, "How you doing?" "I'm doing really good. My work's going really well. I've got a lot more clients recently. My relationship is nice. I've got this real fun relationship. We're doing a lot of fun things together, and I'm feeling healthy. So that's how I'm doing." How I am doing was just described by the conditions of my life. Since the conditions of my life are good, I'm clearly good. What if we started to really learn a deeper emotional fluency, being able to really check in with ourselves and be more aware within ourselves of what's happening, then being able to describe that more accurately to others so that it creates more of an intimate connection when people really understand how we're doing, and they're not just getting the "I'm good, I'm okay, I'm not so good." And what we start to find is that when we are honest, when we do check in, there's often a sense of appreciation on the part of the other. They ask, "How are you?" And we check in and we say, I'm feeling really disconnected these days. Or I'm feeling a bit anxious. And it invites a conversation, and invites a curiosity. It invites an empathy and a connection where the person that we're talking to might lean in and say, "Oh, that's it. Okay, that's interesting. Tell me about that." So we want to learn how to check in with ourselves, and then we want to learn how to build that repertoire of words that are more descriptive of our experience. It's kind of like a writer or a poet. So let's be more poetic with our own lives. That if a writer is trying to describe accurately a scene, they are going to sit with it. They're going to check in. They're going to contemplate. They're going to take a little bit of time to find just the right word that describes the experience, the condition, the situation in a way that is accurate, that's compelling, that actually invites the reader in to be part of that experience. And that's what we're doing when we check in with ourselves and we respond to somebody honestly and thoughtfully with a deeper awareness and a deeper description of our experience. It's showing that we actually want to be intimate, that we actually want to be more connected, that we're not holding the person kind of at arm's length and saying, look, don't get too close. I'm good. That's good enough. That's all you really need to know. But to be honest, and in that honesty, opening up that vulnerability that invites somebody and shows them that you trust them and that you care and that you want them to be close in your lives. This is our vehicle. This is the vehicle. The mind, body, emotional experience is the vehicle for the preciousness of our soul to be expressed, to be celebrated, to be known, to know itself, and to play in this world. We need to become more familiar with what's going on within the vehicle so we can tune it, so we can make sure it's in tip-top running shape. We can listen for the pings and the knocks and the things that aren't going so well, and we can address those and bring our attention to them, and we can create a more smooth running experience. You wouldn't go to the mechanic. And, well, you might, but it wouldn't be as handy to go to the mechanic and say, yeah, I need you to check out my car. Why? What's going on? Yeah, it's running weird. They'd say, well, tell me how, in what way? Oh, I don't know. It's just kind of running weird. No, you'd want to say, okay, when I accelerate, it hesitates. There's a hesitation to the acceleration. The mechanic says, that's starting to give me a little bit of information about how I can more honestly and accurately engage with this vehicle. So let's be more aware of our vehicle so that we can really guide it, that we can tune it, that we can address what needs to be addressed. And we can't do that unless we're really being more clear on the diagnostics. I'm going to give you one more example, and then we're going to start to talk about some solutions here. There was a men's group that I was involved with for about 10 years in San Diego. And here in Sedona, I've got another men's group here, and we do the same thing. And that is, we really talk about what's on our hearts. We talk about our emotional experience. We talk about how we feel in this world to be a man, to be a man in this time with our struggles and our joys and our loves and our fears. And we really talk about the truth of what's going on within us. And we don't just say, I'm good or I'm bad. We pause and we take some time to really explore. And then we answer into the group. We answer the question of how we are doing or what's on our hearts with clarity, with patience, with attentiveness, with a real contemplative care. And that's how we describe our experience to others. Maybe we can start doing that more intimately with everybody in our lives. So there's a tool that I want to offer. And the tool is this beautiful, wonderful, emotional vocabulary builder. This emotional vocabulary builder has been tremendously helpful in my life. It's helpful in the clients that I work with. Every client I work with gets this tool. And what it does is it really helps to get more nuanced about some of the more generic words we use to describe our experience. So on one side, it's got kind of the quote, positive words. So in this top column right here, top column right there, the words are peaceful, loving, glad, playful, interested. And then underneath each of those is a whole column of words that are much more nuanced and descriptive. So imagine if somebody asked you, so how are you doing? How are you doing today? And you took a moment and you paused. Okay, hold on, you're asking. All right, hold on a second. How am I doing today? Well, I'm feeling, and let's say the word is peaceful. And that's the initial expression you want to give, which is already a more nuanced and descriptive word than we often use. But what if you answered and said, how am I feeling? I'm feeling quiet. Yeah, I'm feeling very quiet these days. And then within you, you would start to explore that more, and they might ask a more intimate question. Well, what do you mean quiet? Oh, yeah, I don't feel like really being around people a whole lot. I'm being just with myself, and I'm really finding a real joy in that. What if the word that you used was centered? How are you feeling? Feeling very centered these days. Beautiful. What if playful? Well, how are you feeling? I'm feeling playful. And then you got more nuanced. Mischievous. Oh, that's a good word. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you doing these days? I'm feeling really mischievous these days. Like, isn't that a beautiful thing? Wouldn't that be inviting? Imagine somebody saying that to you. I feel really mischievous. You would immediately go, wow, tell me about that. What's going on? What's happening with that? You see how that starts to build the intimacy, how it draws people in? And there's a real interest because you're being honest. You're not just giving a pat answer. You're being really honest. And there's a sense of, I care. I care enough for you to know what's really happening within me. On the other side, we've got some of the more, quote, negative or disempowering words or difficult words. So we've got angry, sad, fearful, tired, confused. So those are some words that you might describe. If somebody said, how are you feeling? You could say, yeah, I'm feeling tired. That's awesome. That's good. But what if you really checked in? What if you said, I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling disinterested. Feeling disinterested. I'm feeling detached. I'm feeling hopeless. That would be really interesting. How are you feeling? I'm feeling kind of hopeless. Oh, what's happening? What's happening with that? How does hopeless show up? What if sad was the word? But really, it came to, what are you feeling? I'm feeling grief. I'm feeling a real grief or loss, disconnection. You see how the language, the fluency, gets so much more intimate. And the beautiful thing is that not only is the other person getting a more intimate understanding of you, but even in saying the word, searching for it, finding it. How am I feeling? What is it? That immediately connects us deeper as well with our own experience. And that's what we all want, to be more intimately connected with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. When I was guiding treks in the Himalayas for many years, I was learning Nepalese. And what I would do was I would lie in my tent at night and I would open my dictionary and my guidebook, my language guidebook, and I would just learn one or two more words. I would think about, what did I want to say today that I couldn't? What did I want to express or share today that I didn't have the word for? So I'd look it up and I'd learn. Oh, that's the word for happy. Kushi. Kushi is happy. Okay, very good. All right, so I'd learn another word, maybe only one word. But then over time, because I was there for 3-4 months at a time, I started to build a language. You can use this as well to start to really build a rich emotional vocabulary. Once you start to have that, one of the first things you can do is, when you're asked, how are you? Pause. Take a moment. Feel into your experience. And see if you can't find a more descriptive word to express what you're truly feeling in life. Overwhelmed, agitated, blissful, alive. And take that moment, take that pause. As well, when you ask others, how are you doing? When they tell you how they're doing, and let's say they just use a very generic word, be curious. You can play with it. Toss a few words out there. See if you can feel into and offer some of the words that you're learning. See if you can offer those to others. And you will find that they love it. People tend to love it when you really say, you know, God, from what you're describing, it really sounds like you're feeling adventurous right now. And if you're tapped in, the person will go, yeah, that's it. I'm feeling like I need a new adventure. And your conversation just took a whole nother jump of intimacy and connection and liveliness and honesty and authenticity. So pause when you're asked and feel in. Do your study, learn your words to bring a more fluency to your emotional experience. Be more curious about your friends' answers and see if you can help them be a little bit more intimate and a little bit more nuanced with their experience. And start to do a little bit of journaling and feel into, how am I feeling? And pull out your list and see which word really is exemplary of what you're feeling. And then explore that. Why am I feeling like that? And what do I want to do with it? And how does this impact my life? To know that I'm really feeling enraged. How am I feeling? Like, oh, just whatever. No, I'm feeling enraged right now. Wow, what a powerful thing to recognize. What's going on? What is that? Where's that coming from? How do you want to meet that? How do you want to feel that and allow that feeling to be present? So do some journaling every morning around how you're feeling. And there's a really good journaling prompt that works out quite well. On your page, draw a line, and at the top of the column on the left, write more of, and embrace. Top of the column to the left, write more of and embrace. Top of the column on the right, write less of and let go. Less of, let go. And then explore and examine, what do you want to feel more of? What do you want to embrace? What feelings, what states of being do you want to embrace? I want to embrace more of a sense of enthusiasm. Yeah. And that means I want more engagement. And so what do I want less of? And usually what you want more of will show you what you want less of. I want to be less apathetic. I want to be less checked out. Oh, this is interesting. This is good. What a beautiful thing to start a day to acknowledge and bring your awareness to, who do you want to be? What's the state of being that you really want to enliven? Bring more into the forefront of your experience. And to know that you want to be more engaged, that you want to be more excited. And then, okay, well, I want to be less apathetic. I want to be less checked out. And then you can start to look at, well, what actions can I take to really move myself into the feelings that I want to be experiencing and move away from the experiences that really don't thrill me, that don't fill me, that are a bit disempowering. So, journaling in the morning, study your words, play with this, just have it around, pick it up every once in a while, take a look at it and see, get familiar with some words that you might normally never use. Radiant. What a wonderful word. And how beautiful if a friend said, how are you? And you said, I'm just radiant right now. They would be so interested. Really? Why? What's going on? What's happening? Oh, I'm loving life. I'm really, feeling into my preciousness, and I'm finding love. I'm starting to find love these days, and I'm feeling radiant. That's a beautiful conversation, and that's a conversation that brings more intimacy with you to yourself, with you to others in your life, and with you to the world around you. All right. Enjoy. Have fun with your increased emotional fluency and your increased emotional awareness. And if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you found it valuable, give it a thumbs up. It makes it more accessible to others. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And I think there's a little bell icon somewhere around here. And if you check on that, then you'll get notified when more videos like this are available. All right, my friends, blessings. Be well.